The pressure is now on to capture the ultimate prize before time runs out.
Ultimately, you want to get to a Super Bowl and you want to win it. And that's the only thing on my mind at this point in my career.
Let's take a look around the NFL at 5 veteran players who are poised to get that elusive Super Bowl ring, and the 5 who always be left wondering what the ultimate glory would have been like. Well, Khalil Mack, LB, Los Angeles Chargers. Khalil Mack is the kind of player who still gives offensive coordinators sleepless nights. He's a one-man game wrecker and has been even a force off the edge since he broke into the NFL all those years ago. Doesn't even matter what team he's played for. And even as he enters the latter years of his career, his impact remains self-evident. After all, he came into the league with more than enough power and speed to spare, so he can definitely afford to lose a step or two coming off the edge. Pass rushers of Mack's caliber age like a fine wine, and if it somehow doesn't work out for him in Los Angeles with Jim Harbaugh, well, there'll always be a market for contending teams to add a player with his experience and talent. Even once Mack's skills are no longer at their peak, he'll still have enough left in the tank to be a difference maker for a team making a run in January with 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, just some sort of big play at a critical moment. So, as smart money says, he finds a way to get over the hump sooner or later. Won't? Christian McCaffrey, RB, San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey is the perfect example of a player who can do it all. Run, catch, block, you name it. He does it. But talent alone does not always translate to championships. And for McCaffrey, that could unfortunately be the case. The 49ers are a talented bunch, no doubt about it. And when McCaffrey joined, it felt like they were ready to finally take that next step. But after falling short in the Super Bowl yet again, it seems like there's a real risk that the wheels could just fall off here. Between playing for a snake-bitten head coach and organization, the generally shorter shelf life for running backs, and his serious durability concerns, it's hard to believe that the stars will align for him. When the curtain ultimately closes on McCaffrey's phenomenal career, he will for sure go down as a warrior with undeniable talent. But unless something changes soon, he may end up being another great player without a ring. Will Tyron Smith, OT, New York Jets. The media may be tough on the Jets, but let's face it, there's nothing that Tyron Smith hasn't seen yet. Lest we forget, he spent years protecting quarterbacks in Dallas, watching as the Cowboys stumbled year after year in their quest to return to the glory of the 90s. He finally jumped ship and landed in the Meadowlands with the New York Jets. While the Jets have been a little bit up and down since Smith joined up with Aaron Rodgers and the crew, there is a very real chance, given the talent that they have on the roster and the man that they have under center, that this team is a serious contender come February. Not to mention that the veteran tackle has also looked impressive so far this season, considering his advanced age for the position, meaning he'll probably have at least 3 or 4 more cracks at it. Plus, if the football gods are real, Smith and the Jets are gonna get that luck that they need to win the whole thing. The seasoned vet has racked up oodles of karma, having endured years of Cowboys frustration. Hopefully, with Rodgers and the Jets, or maybe even elsewhere, Smith just might get the ending that he deserves. Won't? Zach Martin, OG, Dallas Cowboys. Zach Martin is one of the best guards of his generation. He's an absolute technician and made a living dominating the trenches for the Dallas Cowboys. But sometimes, loyalty can be a double-edged sword. And for Martin, well, it seems like his unwavering commitment to the Cowboys might keep him from ever winning a Super Bowl. For whatever reason, it seems like Zach Martin has chosen to blindly bind himself to Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. The Notre Dame alum has played his entire career there, dating back to 2014 when the Cowboys selected the stalwart guard 16th overall in the draft. He's had one heck of a career though, earning 7 first-team All-Pro selections and 2 second-team nods. But as long as he remains hitched to the Cowboys wagon, him winning a ring will unfortunately just be a bridge too far. Unless he cuts ties with Dallas and tries to chase a ring elsewhere in the final years of his career, his chances are looking pretty slim. Will Derrick Henry, RB, Baltimore Ravens. Regardless of cowbell backs being phased out of the league, Derrick Henry is the kind of player who just changes games. He's a throwback with a powerful running style and all the know-how to play well into the twilight of his career. And fortunately for Henry, after gutting it out with some very mediocre Titans teams, where, by the way, he also found a way to elevate them come playoff time, he has finally landed with Baltimore. And I think that's the perfect fit for Henry. They want to run the ball. They want to play physical. And they want to wear teams down. So, if he can squeeze a couple more good seasons out of those big, strong legs of his, he should be able to do the same for a much more talented Ravens team. That, uncoincidentally, is also a much more competent organization. And with a little bit of luck, that could mean a Super Bowl for the potential Hall of Famer. So, after carrying the Titans through some lean years, he really deserves a shot at glory. And Baltimore might just be the place where he finds that success. Won't. Harrison Smith, safety, Minnesota Vikings. Harrison Smith has been one of the most consistent safeties in the league since the Minnesota Vikings took him toward the end of the first round of the 2012 draft out of Notre Dame. At this point, it looks extremely likely that he'll finish out his career with the Vikes. Unfortunately, that also means that the now 35-year-old most likely won't be winning a Super Bowl. The Minnesota Vikings have had some excellent talent. Justin Jefferson is arguably the best wide receiver in the game, and Sam Darnold has been a very pleasant surprise. But come on, let's be real. They've had strong supporting pieces in the offense for years, and this is just one snake-bitten franchise. All that talent has not translated into any deep playoff success. And you know, Harrison isn't without blame either, as the Vikings defense has been very shaky, which, well, doesn't help his case. So, when all is said and done, he will be remembered as one of the most dedicated players in franchise history and one of the greats on the defensive side of the ball for the Vikes. But barring a miracle run, I won't include a Super Bowl victory in his resume. Will Josh Allen, QB, Buffalo Bills. Alright, so while it might not feel like it, 7 years into his career, I think we have to call Josh Allen an NFL vet at this point. And while it also might not exactly feel like it, it's hard to believe that eventually he won't manage to get over the hump and snatch the Lombardi Trophy away from his bitter rival Patrick Mahomes. Because at this point of his career, Josh Allen has already established himself as one of the most exciting and dynamic quarterbacks in the entire league. And come on, we gotta give the Bills organization some credit. They've invested in building a contender around Allen, and they have come very close. The heartbreak has been real, but there's also a feeling that this group is learning from those setbacks, and that they're getting closer and closer to actually breaking through, even without Stephon Diggs. The dual-threat quarterback simply has way too much talent and too much time. Eventually, Buffalo will get the formula right and put him in a position to win it all. Contrary to what the media will try to tell you, the Super Bowl window is wide open for Buffalo, and Allen is too good not to walk through it sooner or later. Won't Kirk Cousins, QB, Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins has had a very solid NFL career, one that has been defined by consistency and putting up impressive stats year after year. But, you know, if we have to take a step back and just be a little realistic here, the odds just aren't in his favor. Yeah, Cousins is a pretty solid quarterback. He's put up great numbers, and when he's on, he can lead an offense as well as anyone in the league. But when it comes to the kind of magic needed to perform under the bright lights and win a Super Bowl, well, Cousins just hasn't shown that he has what it takes. And it isn't just a narrative at this point, it's a cold hard fact. He has really struggled in primetime games and in high-pressure situations, which are exactly the moments that define a championship run. Atlanta has built a nice little squad around him, but it still seems like a stretch. At this point in his career, Cousins has reached his ceiling. A very good quarterback who can get you to the playoffs, but really not much further. The NFC is competitive, and unless the Falcons end up on the right side of some seriously good bounces along the way, it is a long shot that he gets over the hump at this point. Will TJ Watt, LB, Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt is in a much better spot to eventually win a Super Bowl than many of his peers. He's been a key part of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense for years and proved that he can be a game changer. Now that he's finally parted ways with Kenny Pickett, his team has a much better chance to compete with the big boys. Historically, the Steelers have always found a way to contend, largely because they have prided themselves on their defensive identity, which Watt embodies better than anyone else. After all, TJ Watt is everything you want in a linebacker. Relentless, powerful, and always around the football. Better yet, they may have struck gold on the scrap heap with the Justin Fields acquisition. So, don't look now, but we could see TJ Watt hoisting a Lombardi Trophy before he calls it quits. Heck, with the way the Steelers are constructed, we may even see him have an MVP award to match. Won't Keenan Allen, WR, Chicago Bears. Keenan Allen has had an impressive career. He has been one of the most consistent and reliable wide receivers in the league for years, all on the strength of his route running and ability to make challenging catches. But, well, now that he's with the Chicago Bears, the dream of winning a Super Bowl seems more like a long shot, especially when you factor in the reality that he squandered so many legitimate chances while he was with the Chargers. Some of those teams were next-level dynamic, but they simply just could not put it all together or deliver in crunch time. But time and time again, they just fell short, whether it was injuries, bad luck, or simply failing to deliver. Allen still has plenty of talent, of course, and he's capable of putting up big numbers. But do we really think that the situation in Chicago is the one for a legit championship run? Yeah, sure, Caleb Williams has promise, but but by the time he's Super Bowl ready, who knows if the injury-prone Allen will even still be playing. The sad truth is, Allen might just end up being one of those great players who never got his hands on the ultimate prize. Because, well, the circumstances just never lined up the way that they needed to. But hey, which NFL veteran do you think will win a Super Bowl before they retire? Which one won't? What do you think we got wrong here? What do you think we got right? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking that like button helps out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.